Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. Epictetus. What if I told you that most men unknowingly tolerate behaviors in women that silently erode their confidence, peace of mind, and emotional energy every single day? It's true, small, repeated actions can chip away at your composure, leaving you drained, frustrated, and disconnected from your own purpose. Today, we're going to confront a truth that many avoid. There are certain behaviors that no man who values his time, energy, and self-respect should ever tolerate. These aren't about control, manipulation, or ego. They're about recognizing boundaries, protecting your inner fortress, and living a life of dignity. By the end of this video, you'll not only identify these unacceptable behaviors, but also gain a stoic lens to handle them with calm, strategic clarity. No drama, no emotional chaos. Every point is crafted to empower you to reclaim your peace, command respect, and make conscious choices about who you allow into your life. So stay with me till the very end, because missing even one of these crucial insights could cost you more than you realize: your energy, your focus, and your freedom. Let's dive in. Number 1. Constantly disrespecting your time and boundaries. There is nothing more corrosive to your inner peace than someone constantly disrespecting your time and boundaries. Your time is your life. Every moment you allow to be squandered by someone else is a moment you cannot reclaim. Reminds us, it is not death that a man should fear, but he should fear never beginning to live. If you are living for the convenience of someone else, if you are bending, pausing, or compromising your schedule to suit their whims, you are slowly letting life slip through your fingers. You must understand that respecting your own time is not arrogance, it is self-respect. It is the first, unshakable pillar of control in your life. When a woman repeatedly cancels plans, ignores agreements, or shows up late without care for your schedule, she is signaling, intentionally or not, that your life does not matter as much as hers. And here is the hard truth. If you tolerate this, you are teaching her and yourself that your energy is expendable. You are giving permission for your own focus, your own priorities, and your own mental clarity to be devalued. But you are not powerless. You can draw a line. You can enforce your boundaries without anger, without drama, and without losing your dignity. Seneca wisely said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." Take that to heart. Every moment you reclaim for yourself is a moment you invest in becoming the man you were meant to be. Start by auditing your day, your week, your life. Write down the moments where someone else's disregard caused friction, frustration, or fatigue. See clearly where your boundaries have been crossed. Then practice the art of verbalizing them. Calmly, firmly, and without apology, say what you will not accept. It could be as simple as, "I cannot rearrange my entire day last minute," or "I value punctuality, and I expect it from those I allow into my circle." You don't need to convince her. You don't need to beg for understanding. You simply enforce what is yours. Make it non-negotiable, because your time is sacred and your focus is the engine of your life. The discipline of boundary setting is like training a muscle. Start small. Protect your mornings, protect your evenings, protect the blocks of time where your mind is doing its most important work. If she calls during those periods, let it go to voicemail. If she arrives late repeatedly, leave. Calmly, without anger. Because every time you tolerate disrespect, you reinforce the notion that your time is disposable. Every time you enforce it, you reinforce that you are a man who lives deliberately, who guards his energy as if it were gold. Meditate daily on this principle. You cannot control the actions of others, but you can control what you accept. Journal your reactions. Ask yourself, am I giving my energy freely, or am I guarding it like the treasure it is? Visualize your day as a series of choices where you allocate your attention to what deserves it. Let Stoicism guide you, reminding you that external behaviors are beyond your control, but your response, your actions, your respect for yourself are entirely within your power. It will not be easy at first. People will push, test, and challenge your newly drawn lines. But every time you uphold them without compromise, you strengthen the invisible fortress around your life. You become unshakable, calm, and respected, not through dominance or force, but through disciplined self-respect. Let this be a practice, a ritual, daily, weekly, monthly. Evaluate who honors your time, who does not, and prune accordingly. Your focus, your growth, and your peace depend on it. Remember, a man who values himself does not bend for repeated disrespect. He stands firm, calmly, deliberately, because his time is a resource no one else can squander. Guard it, protect it, and live fully, intentionally, and unafraid. Number 2, manipulating emotions to control situations. One of the most insidious behaviors you need to recognize and refuse to tolerate is when someone manipulates emotions to control situations. This is subtle, almost invisible if you're not paying attention, but its effect is immediate. Your thoughts get tangled, your energy gets drained, and your clarity gets blurred. Stoicism teaches us to observe our impressions and not let external events dictate our inner peace. Reminded himself, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. That power is yours too, but only if you refuse to hand it over to someone else's emotional games. Manipulation often comes dressed as charm, concern, or even affection. But the truth is, when someone twists feelings to get a reaction, they are testing boundaries, measuring your compliance, and seeking control. You might feel guilt, doubt, or anxiety. These are not random, they are tools. You must learn to identify them as such. Start by asking yourself in the moment, is this my genuine feeling, or am I reacting to a push designed to provoke me? This question alone shifts the power back into your hands. Stop being a participant in a game you never agreed to play. You have to train yourself to see manipulation as just another obstacle, not a reflection of your worth. Practice observing your emotions without immediately reacting. When someone tries to provoke you, breathe, pause, step back. The Stoics called this assent without impulsion, not denying your feelings but choosing not to act on them blindly. You can practice this daily. When tension arises, even in small, everyday interactions, notice the urge to react. Label it. This is a push for control. Then deliberately respond from a place of calm. Over time, this builds an unshakable mental armor. Next, you must reinforce your boundaries. Manipulators thrive on ambiguity. They need gray areas where rules are flexible and reactions are predictable. Don't give them that room. Be clear about what behavior you will accept and what you won't. You don't need to justify your boundaries endlessly. Your peace is reason enough. When a manipulative attempt occurs, state your limits calmly and without drama. Silence can be a powerful tool here. Often, not giving them the reaction they seek is the fastest way to regain control. Another practical exercise is journaling. Each evening, reflect on your interactions and ask, did I allow someone else's emotional tactics to influence me? How did I respond? What can I improve tomorrow? This daily ritual helps you spot patterns, strengthen your discernment, and cultivate a habit of deliberate response rather than automatic reaction. Journaling is like mental weightlifting. It builds the muscles of your inner calm, focus, and resilience. Remember, emotional manipulation is not about logic, it's about power. You cannot argue your way out of it, you can only rise above it. Imagine your mind as a fortress. Each reaction you control, each boundary you assert, each pause you take before acting is like adding stone to that fortress. Eventually, you become untouchable not in arrogance but in serene self-mastery. Seneca wrote, "He is most powerful who has himself in his own power." That's the essence of this fight. You don't need to change them. You don't need to reason with them. You only need to control yourself. Finally, turn this awareness into action. When you recognize manipulation, don't linger. Remove yourself, set your rules, and protect your energy. Daily reflection, mindful breathing, and assertive boundary setting are not just habits, they are your armor. The moment you decide that your peace is non-negotiable, you step into true freedom. You stop reacting, stop giving away your power, and start living deliberately. This is not just self-protection. It is the path to personal mastery, the Stoic way, and the life you deserve. Number 3, publicly humiliating or belittling you. Imagine this. Someone deliberately tries to chip away at your dignity in front of others. They twist words, drop subtle insults, or laugh at your expense, not behind closed doors, but right where everyone can see. This is not harmless banter. This is a deliberate strike at your sense of self, and if you allow it to slide, you are handing them the keys to your mind and your peace. Reminds us, if someone does wrong, it is because of their own nature, not yours. Keep your judgment steady. Your power does not lie in retaliating or proving yourself. Your power lies in choosing what you accept and what you refuse to tolerate. You must understand that public humiliation is more than an ego bruise. It is an attack on your energy, your focus, and your inner equilibrium. A single careless word can derail your concentration if you allow it to. But here's the crucial part. You don't have to internalize it. You don't have to replay it in your head or let it poison your mood. Instead, recognize it for what it is, a reflection of their character, not yours. And when you do that, you reclaim control. You reclaim clarity. You reclaim peace. Action is key here. Do not wait for someone else to realize their behavior is unacceptable. Decide for yourself in that very moment what is permissible in your presence. Take a deep breath, step back, observe without reacting. Stoics call this the ability to maintain a calm mind regardless of external chaos. Practice this. Start small. The next time someone crosses the line, resist the impulse to argue or defend. Instead, say nothing. Hold your composure. You are sending a silent, unshakable message. You cannot be broken, and your dignity is untouchable. You should also prepare your boundaries beforehand. Write them down. Meditate on them. Know exactly where your line is. Public humiliation is only as powerful as the weight you give it. When you have internalized your limits, you act with precision rather than emotion. If someone belittles you, address it privately and calmly later, or remove yourself entirely from the toxic environment. As Seneca says, it is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor. Do not crave approval from those who seek to degrade you. Their recognition is irrelevant. Your integrity, your peace, your self-respect, that is wealth. Another exercise, visualize scenarios in advance. Imagine someone humiliating you. See yourself standing tall, unfazed, not allowing their words to penetrate your core. Rehearse a calm response, or better yet, rehearse silence. Make this visualization a daily practice. Over time, your mind builds armor, and public humiliation loses its sting. You will walk into rooms carrying an aura of quiet dominance that cannot be shaken by petty remarks. Finally, recognize the pattern. Humiliation in public is rarely a one-off. It is a tactic to test your limits, to see what you will tolerate. The moment you spot it, act decisively. Withdraw your energy, protect your presence. No debate, no rationalization, just consistent action that reinforces your boundaries. And reflect each night. Journaling is your ally here. Write down where you were tested, how you responded, and how you will improve tomorrow. Through reflection, repetition, and relentless self-respect, you transform every humiliating encounter into a stepping stone toward inner strength. You deserve respect. You deserve calm. You deserve an unshakable mind. No one has the right to diminish you in public or in private. Guard your energy fiercely. Practice composure relentlessly. And remember, the true measure of a man is not how he fights, but how calmly, wisely, and firmly he refuses to be dragged into the chaos of others. Number 4. refusing to take responsibility for her actions. One of the most dangerous behaviors you can tolerate is someone refusing to take responsibility for her actions. It's subtle at first, often cloaked in excuses or blame shifting, but over time it erodes your peace, drains your energy, and undermines the foundation of any meaningful connection. Reminds us, choose not to be harmed and you won't feel harmed. Don't feel harmed and you haven't been. This isn't about punishing others, it's about recognizing where your power lies. You can't control her choices, but you can control what you accept. And tolerating deflection, finger-pointing, and evasion is surrendering your authority over your own life. When someone refuses to own their mistakes, it creates a perpetual cycle of frustration and confusion. You find yourself constantly explaining, justifying, and absorbing responsibility for things that should never have been yours. This is not your burden to carry. The Stoics teach us that clarity comes from understanding what is within your control, and her actions, her choices, her failures, they are not within your control. What is within your control is your response, your boundaries, your commitment to integrity. You cannot fix her, but you can refuse to participate in a web of avoidance and denial. You must begin by observing clearly without coloring reality with hope or expectation. Notice the patterns. Notice the excuses. Notice how accountability is constantly deflected onto you, circumstances, or some imagined wrong done to her. And then take deliberate action. Start small. For a week, practice an exercise. Each time she deflects responsibility, pause, take a deep breath. Mentally label it. This is outside my control. Do not justify, do not argue, do not absorb it. Simply acknowledge and redirect your energy toward what you can influence, your mindset, your actions, your values. This simple act rewires your internal responses and protects your peace. Next, commit to setting boundaries clearly. Silence is powerful, but words are necessary when your energy is being drained. Calmly, without anger or judgment, express your expectations. I only engage with accountability. I do not carry the weight of unacknowledged actions. Notice the difference in your posture, your tone, your presence when you speak from a place of measured authority. You are not punishing. You are asserting the Stoic principle of self-mastery. Seneca reminds us, no man is crushed by misfortune unless he has first been deceived by hope. Do not hope for her transformation. Focus on your own sovereignty. Accountability is non-negotiable. To tolerate the opposite is to invite chaos into your inner life. Here, another exercise. At the end of each day, journal every interaction where responsibility was. Record your feelings, your reactions, and the lessons you drew. Reflect on what you can control tomorrow, your energy, your attention, your choices. Over time, this practice builds an impenetrable mental shield. You begin to recognize where you are complicit in tolerating what is unacceptable. You develop the courage to walk away from repeated patterns without guilt. Ultimately, refusing to accept responsibility is not just about her. It is about your life. Every minute spent excusing, tolerating, or negotiating with someone who won't own her actions is a minute stolen from your growth, your clarity, your freedom. Remember, you are the architect of your inner world. Protect it. Guard it. Refuse to participate in deflection masquerading as conversation. Replace frustration with calm observation, blame with boundaries, and chaos with clarity. This is how a man grounded in Stoicism moves through life, unshaken and unwavering. The practice is daily, the work is deliberate, and the reward is your peace. Number 5, playing mind games or gaslighting. If you've ever felt confused, doubting your own perception, questioning your instincts, or walking on eggshells around someone, you've encountered the subtle but dangerous world of mind games and gaslighting. This is not just emotional manipulation. It is a direct attack on your sense of reality. As reminds us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. And the moment you recognize manipulation, you reclaim that power. You see, the Stoics teach us that external chaos is beyond your control, but your judgment, your clarity, your ability to stand firm, that is entirely yours. When someone plays with your mind, they are testing whether you have claimed that internal authority or whether you are still allowing external forces to dictate your emotional state. You cannot tolerate this behavior if your goal is to live a life of dignity and self-mastery. Gaslighting works because it confuses, destabilizes, and wears down your confidence. You start to ask yourself, did I imagine that? Did I overreact? Am I the problem? Stop right there. You are not the problem. A mind that tries to manipulate yours is counting on hesitation and self-doubt. The Stoics teach us to distinguish between what is within our power and what is not. Your power lies in your perception, your reflection, your response. That is your unshakable fortress. Nothing outside, no words, no manipulations, no false accusations, can breach it unless you let them. So how do you reclaim control? First, you need to anchor yourself in clarity. Begin with a daily practice. Spend 10 minutes in stillness, observing your thoughts without judgment. Write down your feelings, your observations, your interactions. When you record what actually happened, you create an external truth that manipulation cannot touch. Gaslighters thrive in uncertainty. They fade when faced with documented clarity. Next, practice asking yourself one simple question whenever doubt creeps in. Is this within my control? If it's not, let it go. If it is, take deliberate action grounded in reason, not reaction. You must also build a habit of boundaries. The Stoics remind us that virtue is the only true good, and it flourishes when we refuse to surrender it. Saying no to manipulation is not anger, it's wisdom. You owe it to yourself to refuse interactions that destabilize your peace. When someone attempts to play mind games, respond not with emotion but with calm, deliberate detachment. Speak only what is necessary, observe without internalizing, and walk away if the manipulation persists. You are allowed to remove energy-draining people from your life without guilt. Protecting your mind is not selfish, it is survival. Finally, practice reflection at the end of each day. Ask yourself, where did I maintain my center? Where did I allow manipulation to creep in? How can I act differently tomorrow? This is not self-blame, it is measured, Stoic self-improvement. Each day, strengthen the habit of seeing through illusions, of holding fast to your own perception of reality. When you do this, mind games lose their power entirely. You are capable of unwavering clarity, of calm resolve, of resisting subtle emotional traps. Do not give anyone the power to distort your reality. Stand firm. Journal daily, observe constantly, set boundaries fearlessly. Let the wisdom of the Stoics guide you. External chaos is not your master, your mind is. And once you claim it fully, you will walk through life with the unshakable confidence of a man who knows exactly what he will and will not tolerate. Number 6, excessive jealousy or possessiveness. Excessive jealousy or possessiveness is a behavior that quietly erodes your peace and your freedom. It's subtle at first, almost flattering. She wants all of your attention. She wants to know where you are, who you're talking to, what you're doing. But make no mistake, this is not love. It's a cage, and the bars are made of insecurity disguised as care. As a man walking a path of discipline and self-mastery, your time, your energy, and your mind are your territory. You cannot allow someone else to fence you in with suspicion, to dictate your movements or manipulate your focus. Reminds us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. That strength begins with clarity. Recognize jealousy for what it is, a toxic attempt to control what is beyond anyone's true power. When jealousy surfaces, it's easy to rationalize it. It's just concern, you might tell yourself, but stop for a moment and reflect. Do you feel your chest tighten every time she questions you? Do you pause before speaking to avoid triggering her doubts? That unease is the warning bell. You must act before it becomes the norm. Your life is not a stage for someone else's insecurities. You deserve partnerships that elevate you, not relationships that restrain you. Start by defining your non-negotiables. Journal them. Write down the behaviors you will no longer tolerate. Clarity in writing crystallizes the line between what you accept and what you refuse to endure. Next, practice detachment, not in coldness but in wisdom. Stoicism teaches you to separate what is yours from what is not. You cannot own another person's emotions, and you should not be punished for another's inability to manage their own. When jealousy rears its head, pause, breathe. Repeat to yourself, "This is not mine to control, only mine to observe." Doing so cultivates inner freedom. It's a small exercise at first, a subtle shift in perspective, but over time it builds the armor of emotional resilience. You are no longer reactive, you are deliberate. It's also time to demand transparency with calm authority. If you sense possessiveness creeping in, address it openly. Speak with a tone that is firm yet composed. Explain what feels controlling and why it is unacceptable. Make it clear that manipulation cloaked as affection will not be tolerated. Stoics believe in honesty as a cornerstone of virtue. Silence in the face of wrongdoing is complicity. You cannot let your peace be held hostage by fear, suspicion, or constant questioning. When you assert your boundaries, you reclaim control over your energy and your focus. Finally, cultivate self-mastery as a daily ritual. Exercise your mind and body. Immerse yourself in tasks that challenge you. When your own life is full and purposeful, there is no room for external pressures to dictate your mood. Reflect each evening on how you handled interactions. Were you calm, composed, and unshaken? If not, adjust. Make meditation, journaling, and mindful stillness part of your daily armor. By doing so, you make it clear to yourself and anyone else that your mind, your attention, and your spirit are not commodities to be controlled. Remember, jealousy is not a test of love, it's a test of your resolve. You are the steward of your mind, the guardian of your energy. Never compromise your clarity for someone else's insecurity. Stand firm, communicate clearly, detach wisely, and cultivate habits that fortify your peace. In the words of Epictetus, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Make mastery of yourself the priority, and everything else falls into place. Protect your mind, protect your life, and refuse to tolerate possessiveness in any form. You owe yourself nothing less. Number 7. Prioritizing social media over real connection. If you find yourself constantly competing with a glowing screen for someone's attention, it's time to pause and take a hard look at what you're tolerating. When someone prioritizes social media over genuine connection, they're sending a clear message. The real you, the person sitting across from them, sharing space and energy, doesn't deserve the same presence they lavish on a feed. Reminds us, waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. Presence isn't negotiable. It's not a suggestion. If you allow someone to habitually ignore your presence in favor of endless scrolling, you're condoning a lack of respect, a subtle erosion of your energy, and a betrayal of the very essence of meaningful connection. You must recognize that your time, your energy, and your emotional investment are precious commodities. They are not currency to be spent on someone whose attention is divided. You deserve more than passive interaction. You deserve eyes that meet yours, voices that respond with thought, gestures that reflect care. A person who chooses digital distractions over the real world is not just neglecting you. They are choosing avoidance over engagement, convenience over commitment, and momentary dopamine hits over the deeper satisfaction of shared presence. And this isn't just about them. This is about you reclaiming your standards, protecting your peace, and refusing to let subtle disrespect take root in your life. Imagine how it feels to pour your thoughts, your jokes, your ideas into a space, only to be met with silence while attention drifts elsewhere. That isn't affection, it isn't partnership. It's a drain, plain and simple. Here, where you take control. First, set boundaries that demand presence. Decide that during certain times your attention cannot be split. Your conversations, your meals, your shared spaces are sacred. If someone cannot respect that, they are signaling their values do not align with yours. Epictetus said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." If they cannot honor the act of listening, they cannot honor the act of connection. You must observe this pattern with clarity, without emotion, without rationalization. Stoicism teaches us that we can only control our own responses. You cannot force someone to value what you offer, but you can choose not to pour into a vessel that consistently leaks. Next, cultivate a practice of deliberate presence yourself. When you are with someone, or even when you are alone, train your mind to engage fully with the moment. Leave the phone in another room. Sit in silence. Notice the subtleties, the small gestures, the cadence of breath, the texture of the conversation. This strengthens your ability to detect energy that is authentic versus energy that is distracted, and it reinforces your own standards for attention and respect. The more you practice presence, the clearer your vision becomes, and the more you will naturally reject those who cannot meet you there. Finally, act decisively. If the pattern persists, make the choice to step back. You are not punishing them, you are preserving yourself. Emotional detachment is not cruelty, it is self-respect. Replace wasted attention with intentional focus on your own growth, your routines, your passions. Observe the feeling of liberation that comes when you stop chasing attention that isn't offered freely. This is not about control over another. It is mastery over yourself, your energy, and your standards. Refuse to normalize behavior that diminishes your worth. Prioritizing social media over real connection is more than a bad habit. It is a choice, a statement of values, and a reflection of what a person is willing to invest. You can tolerate it, but only if you want your energy to be fragmented and your time to be undervalued. Or you can act. You can reclaim your space, demand presence, and insist that connection, real, unbroken, undistracted connection, is the baseline for anyone who wishes to share your life. The choice is yours. Guard it fiercely. Number 8, being consistently negative or toxic in energy. Being consistently negative or toxic in energy is one of the most draining habits someone can bring into your life. You might not even notice it at first, because negativity often creeps in slowly, like a fog settling over your mind. But over time, it compounds. When someone constantly complains, criticizes, or dwells on the worst in every situation, it chips away at your peace, your focus, and even your ability to act with clarity. Imagine trying to move forward in life while carrying a heavy weight you didn't even ask for. That's exactly what happens when you allow persistent negativity to settle into your space. Stoics remind us, as said, choose not to be harmed and you won't feel harmed. Don't feel harmed and you haven't been. The first step here is realizing that their energy doesn't have to be yours. You get to choose what you absorb. You get to decide what deserves your attention. You cannot control how someone else behaves, but you can control what you accept. When negativity is constant, it's not just a mood. It's a force that can dictate your thoughts, your decisions, and the way you see the world. If you catch yourself feeling frustrated, drained, or resentful after interactions, that's a clear signal. Your energy is being siphoned, and it's not just a minor inconvenience. It's a silent thief, eroding your patience and clarity over time. The Stoics teach that our power lies in our ability to respond intentionally, not react unconsciously. So when you notice the drain, act, step back, set boundaries, protect your mind like it's the most valuable thing you own, because it is. Start by observing patterns. Pay attention to the people you interact with and the lingering feelings they leave behind. If you consistently feel weighed down, irritated, or hopeless after conversations, that's not coincidence, it's feedback. Journaling can be powerful here. Each evening, take 10 minutes to reflect. Who pulled at your energy today? How did it make you feel? What can you do differently tomorrow? This isn't about judgment, it's about clarity and self-mastery. By naming the energy thieves, you begin to regain control over your inner life. You start to separate what belongs to you from what belongs to them. Next, practice conscious detachment. This doesn't mean being cold or indifferent. It means holding your boundaries firmly while remaining centered. You can listen, you can empathize, but you don't have to internalize every negative thought or emotion thrown your way. Epictetus reminds us, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. You are the gatekeeper. Your energy is yours. No one else gets to dictate it unless you allow them to. Visualize a shield around yourself when engaging with negativity, a mental barrier that lets you interact without being absorbed. Finally, replace the toxic energy around you with habits that elevate your state. Fill your space with things that build you up. Read, reflect, meditate, or exercise. Engage with people and practices that inspire and empower you. Even small actions like stepping outside for a few minutes of quiet or practicing mindful breathing can reset your energy and reinforce your boundaries. Every time you choose calm over chaos, focus over distraction, you are reinforcing your own resilience. Negativity is contagious only if you let it in. Protect your mental and emotional territory. Choose your interactions with care, cultivate energy that serves you, and don't apologize for guarding your peace. Over time, you will notice a shift. You'll move with more calm, think with more clarity, and act with more purpose. Your energy is your most powerful tool. Treat it like it matters because it does. And remember, every time you stand firm against toxicity, you are practicing Stoic mastery in its form. Remember, as Epictetus once said, make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens. You cannot control the actions of others, but you can control what you accept and how you respond. These 8 behaviors are red flags. Boundaries exist for a reason. Guard your energy, protect your peace, and never compromise on your values. If this video opened your eyes, don't just watch and forget, take action. Reflect on your relationships, identify where you've been tolerating what you shouldn't, and set firm boundaries moving forward. The power is always in your hands. If you found value here, make sure to hit like, subscribe, and share this with a friend who needs to hear it. And remember, mastery over your life begins the moment you decide what you will and will not tolerate. Stay disciplined, stay calm, and stay unshakable.